Hello friends, welcome back to the shop. Today is Sunday, March 25th, and it's snowing. I hate to complain about the weather, I know I do it a lot, but this is just getting ridiculous. Last Wednesday, which was the first full day of spring, we got over a foot of snow, which is a huge snowstorm for the area I live in. I mean, we typically, if we get a bad snow, it's going to be 3-4 inches maybe. A foot is a lot, and this was probably closer to like 14-15 inches. It's hard to tell with the drifting and everything, but and you know, it was 45 degrees the next day. It was 50 something yesterday. This morning it's snowing. It's not going to accumulate, but it's just I'm ready for spring. So I was thinking, I don't know if you're all aware of this this groundhog thing that goes on, you know, on Groundhog's Day. In Puxatawney, Pennsylvania, there's a very famous groundhog named Phil. He's Puxatawney Phil. And every year on Groundhog's Day, Phil either sees a shadow or doesn't, and that predicts how long it will be until spring. So this year he predicted another 6 weeks of winter, and apparently he just kind of turned the dial up a little bit further than he should have. So I'm thinking about putting a hit out on Phil. If anybody's interested in bringing me the head of Puxatawney Phil, let me know. We can work out some kind of an arrangement. I've got some very nice McClellan stuff cellared. I know that's pretty popular right now, so let me know. I am not in any way advocating hurting a groundhog, but I am really mad about the weather. So today, I've got just a little basket billiard that I enjoy smoking, and I am smoking some LJ Peretti Cuban mixture because I like it. And got some 8 o'clock coffee in my Country Squire mug, Country Squire radio mug. So John David from Country Squire is getting married, or got married, I guess. I think he, well, maybe he was married yesterday. I don't know. But yeah, that's great. Congratulations, John David, and I hope that really works out well for you. That show, if you don't listen to, so it's a podcast, but they record the podcast on it with a YouTube live stream, so you can catch it either way. I started off listening to the podcast way back, the first year that they were doing it, and I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a small community. You know, they would interact with folks on Twitter during the podcast and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun. As it's grown, it's become more of a I don't know, I guess I'd say mainstream sort of thing, and it's great. It's very interesting. It's very entertaining, and I highly recommend it. But I miss the old days, but you can't ask somebody to not be successful just to keep you happy. So I guess I'll just have to live with the success of the Country Squire radio podcast. But it's really good. If you haven't seen it, go check that out. And unfortunately, they're never going to make these mugs again, but I'm happy I bought 2 when they were available, and I have one in work. And it's funny, people don't know what to make of it in work because they see the pipe and then they see the radio thing and the fact that it's got a microphone, and they just really don't know what to make of it, and so they don't ask, and I enjoy that. And this Cuban mixture is quite good. Talked about that in the past, but I let it go out. So today's Palm Sunday. So a very blessed Palm Sunday to all of you folks that observe the day. This sort of marks the beginning of the week leading up to the Triduum, the Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter Sunday, which represents for Christians really the holiest time of the year. This is the time when Christ died and was resurrected. So it's an extremely important time on the Christian calendar. Now, I know not everyone celebrates it at the same time, and I get very confused. There's a big division between the Roman Catholic Church, which I'm a member of, and then there's the I believe it's the Eastern Orthodox, Russian Orthodox churches, which celebrate on a different calendar. So they're usually a bit later than the Roman Catholics are. And I think that most Christian denominations in this country follow the Roman Catholic calendar. So if you're, Lutheran or Methodist, or you're probably celebrating it this week. And it brings to an end, the Triduum brings to an end the season of Lent, which is a season of sacrifice, a season of waiting, and of giving something of yourself in order to grow spiritually. So it's always been a very interesting time for me, and I've always looked forward to it. It gets a lot of bad press because people, the stories you hear is, oh, so-and-so gave up cake for Lent, or they stopped drinking coffee or something like that. It just sounds kind of childish. But it's not, and it's misunderstood, and it makes me, I think this time of year a lot about the differences between different religions, the differences between different Christian sects, the differences between religious and non-religious people, and so often the things that we believe about other people's beliefs are just wrong. And I have to think that regardless of what your belief is, if you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're a Jew, you're a Buddhist, name 1,000 other things, God has revealed himself in the way that he felt was best to reveal himself to you at that time in your life that you became that religion. And maybe you're a non-believer, and maybe that's simply because God has chosen, well, I won't say that, but maybe it's simply because you haven't seen God's call. But it could also be, there is some possibility that is the right path for you in God's plan for some reason. If you have some code that you're living by that leads you to do good and to be a good person, I think that's really what it's all about. Religion is something that helps us guide our lives in a way that is consistent with God's plan, and that makes us better people that respect and love others. And if your religion is doing that for you, or your lack of religion is doing that for you, then that's a good thing. What it shouldn't be is a thing to separate us, and we shouldn't be looking at these niggly little differences in what we believe and pointing to those as if they're these gaping wounds, when in fact they're really kind of minor most of the time. And Lent, in my experience, is a good way to think about, or a good time to think about this, because when you're a child, you don't understand theology, you don't understand the bigger picture of what God is and how God fits into your life. So you're taught in ways that are appropriate for a child. And a child during Lent is told that they have to sacrifice something. So what are they going to do? Well, what's a huge sacrifice for a child? Don't eat candy for the time of Lent. Well, that's huge. Kids like candy. Maybe give up ice cream or cake or something like that. It makes sense for a child. But you're supposed to grow spiritually, and you're supposed to continue to grow when you get out of school. And I think the problem is many of us don't. Many of us get that basic education from Sunday school, from if you went to a religious grade school and had religion classes, and you hit that 8th grade point and it just all stops. And we're walking around with this young, childlike mentality of what God is and how we are called to be better people, and it's wrong. So when it comes to Lent, Catholics don't, and I'm sure other Christians as well, don't all just give up candy and go on a diet for a couple of weeks. A lot of people will sacrifice things that are really important to them in a way, not just to stop doing the thing, but to use the saving that they have from that. So, for example, if I was to say I'm not going to smoke pipes during Lent, so if I was to give up pipe smoking for Lent, it wouldn't be because of health reasons or because I I'm trying to cut down or something like that. It would be so that I could take the money I saved from not buying pipe tobacco and give it to a charity, give it to the church, give it to someone that needs it, or use it to buy something that would improve my spiritual life, like maybe a book or something like that. So there's ways to think about this that are very different than just I'm going to go on a diet for a couple of weeks. The other thing you can do is you can do something positive, so you don't have to take something away. So some people will go to church every day during Lent, or they'll read the scriptures every evening, or pray differently, or introduce some prayer that they wouldn't normally use, or something like that. Pray for people they wouldn't normally pray for. There's so many ways that you can look at it, and when you just view it as, oh, I'm not going to drink coffee for a month or something like that, it unfortunately has this very childlike or childish feel to it, and people see that and they think, well, that's silly, and it's a shame, because it's not silly. It's actually a very beautiful time of the year that can do a lot of good in our lives. And I'm sure that and I'm sorry I'm babbling on here about religion, but it's important to me, and I'm sure that there's many other, I'm sure that, and I know that for example, Islam has times of deprivation that are used to enhance spirituality, fasting and things like that, as does Judaism, and I'm sure that many other faiths have similar concepts. So I'm sorry I got off on quite a tangent there, but something I felt was worth sharing with you, and hopefully you'll take something away from that. In other news, so shop news, I've been working on a lot of pipes, and unfortunately when I have a lot of pipes to work on, I really can't take the time to make a video, because that slows everything down and people are waiting to get their pipes back. But what I've been doing is I've been taking advantage of the blog that I started, and that's actually been working really well for getting some information out there on how I'm doing the repairs. Because I'd really like to be able to make a full video on a restoration, but I have to set up every shot and move the cameras around and stuff. If I just keep my cell phone out and I take pictures as I'm doing the work, it's really easy to put that into a blog post and write some text around it that explains what I'm doing. And this Monday I'll be posting one that I actually think a lot of you might find interesting, and that's on this beautiful Kavichi pipe that was sent to me by my friend Thomas. And Thomas, I hope you don't mind me using this as a prop here in the video, but I really think this has a very beautiful stem on it with these little inlays that I hope you can see, and it's just really nice. And when Thomas sent this to me, the tenon, which is right here, had snapped off, and what I did was I created a new tenon for the pipe, thus rescuing the original stem. And this is a very common repair. Unfortunately, these things break, and I've developed a method to repairing them that I think is really not only very accurate at replacing it so that it lines up properly, so that the stem lines up properly when it's put back on the pipe, but also will provide a very durable, long-lasting repair. So if you're interested, the blog post will be up Monday morning. They post at 8 o'clock on Monday mornings, and you can get to it through my website, canerodpipes.com or canerodpiper.com, or there's a blog link as well, but I don't know what that is. I'll put the blog link downstairs for you to look at. But I don't want to push it too much. I don't want this to be an advertisement for my blog, but at the same time, a lot of you ask for shop videos, and I just don't have the time. And this is going to be there's lots of lathe work involved and all that. So I think you'll enjoy it if you enjoy the shop videos. Well, I've rambled quite a bit this morning, and my Cuban mixture is running low, and I need to get Thomas's pipe packed up so I can put it in the mail tomorrow morning. And the furnace is coming on again. Oh, that darn furnace. So, very quickly, I will not be making a video next week because of the Easter holiday, so I hope you all have a blessed and happy Easter. And until we do speak again, I will certainly be looking forward to talking to you all again very soon. So goodbye now.